I'm going to present about some intergambling descriptive data in Macau. Macau, everyone know that is, I mean, not everyone, but everyone in China, at least is very famous in China, know that Macau is a casino city. Okay, it is, because in China, generally speaking, gambling is forbidden. And then, but people can go online to buy some national lotteries. It's the only legal game type in China. But Macau is a different region. Okay, it's a special administrative region of China. And then we all know that there are lots of casinos. According to the government, there are more than 35, they're still building, so the data have to be giving update, but at least 35 casinos, more than 165,000 slot machines and other gaming facility like horse race course, etc. in Macau, a very, very small city. We have a population around 500,000 or to 600,000 only. So this is more, and a lot of them are in fact, are not permanent citizens. People go there to work from different parts of the world. And the gaming industry brought huge gross revenue to the government. And for example, in 2011, the gross revenues reached more than 33 billion US dollars, and which ranked #1 of the world, even, went over Las Vegas. And that's why it's called the Monte Carlo of the Orient for a long time. And I keep studying why people gamble and what kind of people will develop pathological gambler among Chinese people. And now, because we got into the internet era, I start getting more interesting. Why do Macau people also gamble through the internet? It is because Macau residents have a very high online rate in the population, more than 70%, and in 2011, I'm sure the rate is even higher now. It's more than 70%. And almost everyone got their mobile instrument like the mobile phone or the tablets we have today. And then Macau also, by some survey, they found that Macau was also ranked as the 20th jurisdiction of highest volume online transaction in the world. So that means some people do through Macau websites and also maybe also gamble in Macau, but how common it is. And that's what I want to look at. But though gambling is highly prevalent in Chinese population, but so far we have very little information about Macau citizens' involvement in internet gambling. So it is the very first study, to my knowledge, which study internet gambling with a representative sample. In previous study, we have some data about internet gambling, but very, very limited. For example, in some government committees survey, we found about 1% of the residents throughout several years, they gamble in the online casino. But they didn't study whether they gamble in other games. For example, the soccer or the online online mahjong, some traditional Chinese game, etc. We all know that other games may be even more popular because we have a lot of casinos in Macau already. People may not like to go to the virtual casino. They can go to the real casino directly. And then, so the past year prevalence rate in online casino gambling is very low, only 1%. And then, but And then there's another study focused on high school students, and then they find the lifetime prevalence of online gambling is a little bit higher. We expect that it should be higher because this is the lifetime measures. So 6.6% of the high school students have participated in online gambling. So include soccer, betting, mahjong, casino gambling, and lotteries, etc. And these kind of findings trigger me to study. Then how about other people, in other age group, whether they also gambles like the young people. And another issue I would like to look at is the correlation between the internet gambling and pathological gambling. In previous studies, like the review done by Wood and his colleagues in 2012, we note that internet gambling, in fact, is highly correlated with pathological gambling. And then some longitudinal data even support that internet gambling may induce or heighten one's vulnerability or susceptibility toward pathological gambling. And that's why I would like to get some more data about this in Macau, Chinese. And I believe these data is important for evaluate the public prevention need and strategies in Macau. So in the person study, we aim to fill in the existing knowledge gap, as I just mentioned, by evaluating first the perception and involvement of internet gambling among Macau adults, with a representative community sample. And then we will also try to identify some demographic characteristics as well as two psychological characteristics of internet gambling, so as well as pathological gamblers in Macau. Of course, we will evaluate the correlation that have been found in the previous study between internet gambling and pathological gambling in Macau community adults. So the person study, in the person study, first we got the ethical approval from my university, and then I used the telephone survey and we randomly recruit a sample of 952 Chinese adults who age 18 or above. And then in the sample, we have 399 males and 553 females. They're the valid case. And the refusal rate in the survey is about 12.5% only. Yeah, it doesn't mean that because it's according to the the refusal rate is identified only, for example, if the children pick up the phone and then they said he or she is the only one who live in the household, then this case we will consider as invalid, and then we won't consider in the refusal case. That's why the rate is, and also the rate, the calculation of this refusal rate is according to American Association of Public Opinion Research. Anyway, and the resultant sample we have compared with the government data. We find the sample is representative enough because all the sample characteristic in the demographic perspective is pretty similar to the 2011 census data. And so then the sample age range is pretty huge, and usually in the government committed survey, they will make a upper limit of age cut at 65. But we try to, if they're old people, they are able to answer our question, we will let them do it. because I will believe that there's lots of capable elders in the community and they deserve the attention as well. And in the study, in the survey, we assess their gamble preference. What kind, first, just like, do they prefer the online gambling more than the offline gambling, or vice versa? And also whether they ask some data about their past year gambling involvement, like how frequent they gamble, and then the expenditure on average they estimated and then and also the wager size, etc. And according to DSM-4, we also asked their 10 questions about the symptoms of pathological gambling, and then if their score higher than 5 or above, higher than 5, then we will consider them as pathological gamblers. And then, or if they score 3 to 4, we will consider them as problem gamblers. And then because of the analysis power, eventually we combine the pathological gamblers and the power gamblers and the problem gamblers in one group and compare them with the recreational gamblers. And then we also, as I mentioned earlier, we assess 2 psychological variables. We believe that there may be the risk factor for them to get this pathological gambling problem. And so I measured the materialism by the 6-item material values scale, the Chinese version, as well as another 5-item to use to measure the satisfaction with life, because we have reviewed some data that the dissatisfaction of life as well as the materialism may be some kind of risk factor. Okay, so but they haven't been tested well about their power of explaining the pathological gambling in Chinese studies. And all, of course, I assess their demographic characteristic as well. All alphas of, for example, satisfaction with life scale, etc., is high. And so, come to the results part. And the general attitudes towards internet gambling, in fact, is not as favorable as we expect. When we compare, when we compare the online gambling with the offline gambling, and then the respondents, in fact, more of them prefer the offline gambling, and only 5.4% of the respondents actually said that I like internet gambling more. Half of them, about half of them said that, yeah, either is fine or either is bad, no difference. But only about 5% said that, yes, I like internet gambling more. And we try to analyze the preference, such preference with demographic. We find that young people, as we expect, are more likely to say yes, say yes to internet gambling. And then, similar to previous study, those with higher education are more likely to say yes to internet gambling as well. And then, and those who have internet gambling experience are more likely to say they prefer internet gambling, and that's why they do so, or they tried it, okay? But we cannot find that preference have any association with gender, work status, casino employment, income, or gambling addiction symptoms. Then, about the prevalence of internet gambling, and it is pretty consistent with their attitudes. The rate so far we find in the community adults who admit that, at least they admit that they have participated in internet gambling is pretty low. It's only around 1.2% in the whole sample. Only we have 28% of the respondents said that yes, I have gambled in the previous year, okay? And they are those who, and then we ask them then whether it involved any games via internet, and only 4% in that among these 269 gamblers say yes. So that's why the N is only 11. It's really, really small. And then, and that's why there are lots of limitations in later in our data analysis. But the sample from the results is pretty, as I said previously, pretty representative, because the data I found about the distribution of the pathological gambling is pretty similar to previous studies, no matter it's the government's committed one or those who have done by other researchers. And then there are about 7% of people who have problem gambling, and then they have around 3% of them have probable pathological gamblers. And so among these 11 internet gambler respondents, they said that they have gambled for soccer games, horse race, lottery, or poker games. The median wager size is around $37 US dollars to $125 US dollars. The frequency is about once a week, the median, because the sample size is too small, and the mean rate is not very meaningful. And then the 64% gamblers gamble alone, but it's interesting to observe that they also gamble. They report that some of them, they gamble with their families, even parents, okay? And then, 82% said that they would gamble at home, and only one said that they would gamble in some kind of the internet cafe. And this finding, and also gives us some idea about why these internet gamblers prefer gambling and prefer internet gambling. We have asked them why, in fact. Some of them said that they like internet gambling because it is anonymous, and also they report that because there are more game types, and then some said that because the website design is very beautiful, okay, and then etc. So, but none of them mentioned that because it can help them to hide their gambling away from their family. So, and so by logistic regression analysis, we found that internet gamblers are more likely to be male and casino employed. And then other demographic factors, including the psychological one, were not significant predictors in the final model. And also, we found two pieces of evidence that support that internet gambling is related to pathological gambling. First, you can see that internet gamblers report significantly more symptoms of pathological gambling than non-internet gamblers, and also their higher proportion of problem gamblers or probable pathological gamblers are classified among internet gamblers than the non-internet ones. And then I also have done I give up the analysis in trying to see what kind of factors that can predict pathological gambling among the internet gamblers group, because the group size is too small. So I tried, but I do an analysis on what factors can predict pathological gambling. And then we find gender, education, and the casino employment were significant predictors of pathological gambling. And then the internet gambling involvement is another significant predictor. And then both life satisfaction and materialism were significant predictor of the of the pathological gambling among our Chinese respondents. And so just give a quick conclusion. Macau adults, at least from this study, we found that they do not prefer much internet gambling, and thus they seldom engage in it. Those who are younger and more well-educated may have more favorable attitudes, but so far we cannot see the much effect on it, but we cannot say that that will not have huge effect in the future. So I always recommend that we have to keep a close monitoring. We have to monitor the trend closely by more future research. And I confirm the positive association between internet gambling and pathological gambling can be generalized to an adult Chinese sample. And in this study, I think the most interesting is we identified the at-risk group. They are the casino employees. They are, first thing, they are more likely to join the internet gambling, maybe because in Macau, they have a regulation that the casino employee cannot gamble in their own casino. So that's maybe one reason that if they want to gamble, and it may not be good for them to show up in other casinos, so they would do it in the internet. And also, this employment also associated with pathological gambling. And in my previous study, we showed that in fact the casino employees in Macau suffer a lot of work stress, and also the work stress spill over to their family. They have more family conflict. So that's maybe one of the reasons we need further attention on this group. And in fact, I have mentioned some of the limitation because the survey design we have, and the sample size as well, we have very small number of internet gamblers have surveyed. And then it is also a cross-sectional research design. We cannot prove whether internet gambling lead to more pathological gambling, or those people who are pathological gamblers are more likely to join because they want more varieties of gambling activities, so they were more likely to join internet gambling as well. Those the longitudinal data in the West support the both directions of correlation, but I hope later I can do a longitudinal study on this kind of research. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much. Sorry for the delay. Thank you. Oops, I missed two slides. The word acknowledgement. Yeah, the study is just support, and the study findings, in fact, are accepted for publication. Yeah, I saw some people have taken pictures, so you may find more details by emailing me, or you can wait for the online version very soon in the JGS.